Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Sammy here, and in today's video we are continuing this goal setting theme that I have been going on in December, and we're going to be talking about my goal assessment and life compass and my intentions for 2023 in my MakseLife flagship planner. This is the planner that I am going to be using in 2023, and I really am excited about this new way of thinking and goal setting. I'll talk more about the actual planner when I talk about what planners I'll be using in 2023. This is strictly just goals, what we'll be talking about today. This is the follow-up my video from last Thursday where I gave 6 tips in regards to goal setting and reflecting on your current year or current season of life, and knowing what you need more of and what you need to do and change for the upcoming year or upcoming season of life. So let's go ahead and get to this. One thing I want to preface, I couldn't decide if I wanted to actually set this up live or set it up and then film. And so I just decided to set up and then film and talk about everything, just because I feel like part of this new goal setting journey that I'm on and figuring things out is really special, and I want to actually enjoy that time. Not that I don't enjoy it when I am filming, but I just want to be able to actually process through things. And so let me know in the comments if you prefer to watch videos where they're actually working through things, or if you just like more of sharing ideas type thing. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So we're going to the goal setting tab. I have read through this and annotated a bunch of it. I used the new Moxie markers to do this, and I just love how it's been turning out. But this page right here, this is the life compass. We will talk about this and what these lines and numbers mean. Let me zoom in a little bit in a minute. But first, I want to show you on the next page after life compass, if you are not familiar with MakseLife, is they have the scoring assessment or assessment scoring. And so they break up their areas of life in their planner and ask 8 different questions per area, and then you're supposed to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. And then you'll take those numbers and then find the average, and that's your score for that area of life. And so I went through this process. I scored myself. I actually did this multiple times. If you go onto MakseLife's website, they have free printables, and this is one of the free printables. So even if you don't have this planner, you could assess yourself and see kind of where you're at in each area of life according to this system. And so I did this a couple times just to kind of get a feel for it and to kind of see how I rate myself on good days and bad days. And this was pretty much the average. The reason why there's highlighting in each of these sections is because these are the areas or the questions, I guess, that I scored the lowest in that section. And I felt like it was important to highlight them just because obviously those are the areas of that section of life that I need to work at the most. And so I consider them ideas for my goals for this upcoming year and things that I can work on. And so that's why I highlighted them, and I really like how it turned out. It does add some pops of color, but it also kind of gives me an idea of what to consider for the upcoming year. And so after you assess yourself, you then go back to this life compass page, and I can zoom in on that, and you fill this in, and this gives you an overall view of where you're currently at. And so with personal, I am a 7, which is pretty good. That's higher than what I was last year. And the reason why I circled the 9 is because by the end of the year, I would like to be at a 9. I feel like that's doable. I was considering the things that I'm lacking in that area, and I know it's going to take a lot of work on my part, but I feel like I can do that. Fun and recreation is a 5. And by the end of the year, I want to be at a 7. Work and learning is a 6. I would like to be at an 8. Family and relationships is also a 6. And I would also like to be at an 8. Health and wellness is at a 5. And I would like to be at a 7. Spiritual growth is at a 6. And I would like to go up to a 9. Once again, that's a really big jump. But considering what I scored the lowest in that area, I feel like it's doable. And so I'm going to try my hardest there. Financial is a 5, and I want to be at a 7. And then physical environment is also at a 5, and I want to be at an 8 by the end of the year. So you can tell by looking at this, I'm pretty average. I have 1 7, 3 6s, and 4 5s. And so pretty average on everything, which is okay. And I'll talk more about this later, how this kind of like helped me think about my word for the year. But I feel like this is a good starting point, and I feel like this is pretty accurate. When I think about my life as a whole, I feel like I'm doing pretty average. I'm not doing terrible, but I definitely know that there's a lot of room for improvement. And so let's go to the next page. So after you fill this out and after you've done the assessment, there is this intentions page. And so we are going to talk about this really quickly. And I'll talk about my word of the year and what I'm thinking about with that. And going forward. So anyway, so with intentions, this first question says, what could I use more of in my life this year? So thinking about the upcoming year, 2023, what could I use more of in my life? And going back to my reflection process and kind of looking at those questions with the assessment, I decided that I need more connection in my life, and just connecting with others and connecting with myself. And so connection, I also want to gain or have more of a feeling of being content with my current stage of life and realizing that what I'm doing is enough and I don't need to push myself to do more. I also want to have a feeling of being confident within myself and knowing that I'm doing good. I also want to have more fun in 2023 and establish more of a routine within my daily life. I have tried so many different times. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm always talking about my AM and PM routine, and I always put it in my planner, but that doesn't mean it always gets done. And so I want to have more of a routine and like establish what that looks like in my life. The next question is, what could I use less of in my life this year? Definitely comparison. I struggle a lot with comparing myself to others and seeing their strengths and comparing their strengths to my weaknesses, which doesn't make any sense. And so I need to work on that because, like the quote goes, comparison is the thief of joy, and it really is. I get super depressed and sad when I get into that state of comparison. I also want less people pleasing in my life. That's always been a trait of mine since I was a little girl. I'm just wanting to please my parents because I felt like pleasing them and making them happy equated to feeling loved and wanted and secure. And I have brought that into my adult life, and it has just caused a lot of issues. And so learning to say no, setting boundaries, all of that. I would also like less clutter in my life, and in parentheses I put physical and mental, just because I do have a lot of physical clutter that I want to get rid of and clean out my house and my car and just feel good with what I have and get rid of the things I don't really need or I don't use. And then I want to also clear my mind of like all the mental clutter that tends to get stuck up in there, and learning how I can like deal with that in a more positive way. The next question is, what characteristics would I like to nurture this year? And I wrote down confidence, connection, and contentment. I feel like those were all things that I want to nurture and really focus on in the year ahead. 3 habits that I want to develop this year are movement. I want to move my body and not necessarily like have a hard workout every day, but go for a walk, do something to move my body in a positive way. I want to develop routine and mindfulness. And in parentheses above that, I put unplugging, like getting away from my phone and social media, things like that, and just really embracing my life in the moment that I'm in. This year, I want to be more thankful, vulnerable, confident, proactive, open-minded, and content. I will do less procrastinating, comparing myself, pleasing others, overspending, and giving excuses. I really like this list just because of some of the things we've already talked about. With procrastinating, I always put things off till the very last minute. And then giving excuses, and that goes for myself, making excuses up for myself of why I don't do things, and making up excuses for others to excuse their negative and bad behavior of how they're treating me. I just naturally do that. I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but in reality, I am just ignoring negative behavior, and that's not healthy. And so I need to work on that. I will give myself grace for holding myself to too high of expectations, all the self-doubt and anxiety in my life. I have always held myself to too high of standards and expectations, once again, just because that's how I felt like I could please my parents. And that has carried on with me into adulthood, and it's just not realistic. And it just hasn't served me in any good way. And so I just need to give myself grace that I've done that to myself for so many years and just let that go. And be okay with that. Which leads me to the next question. I will let go of too high self-expectations and expectations of others. Because I hold myself to too high of expectations, I tend to do the same with others. Just because if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? And so I need to work on and just let go of that idea that, for example, I'm an Enneagram 2, which means that like I'm a natural nurturer and helper, and I can just kind of tell like what I need to do to help people, and that's just my natural reaction to building connection with people. And I know not everyone's like that, and so me expecting that of others is not realistic. And so I put a note next to that saying I need to meet people where they are, which is so true, and just accept them for who they are and understand that we are all different. And then lastly, I will embrace imperfection, relationships, and the small moments. One thing that really stuck out to me, and I've heard this saying and just like this phrase from a bunch of different people in like the last couple months, and it's always stuck out to me. And so I just felt like I needed to write it down because it's just been in my mind. People have been saying it. And so I feel like that's a sign of something. And so I just wrote it down. And it says, be where your feet are. And I just love that. with embracing the small moments, I feel like that goes hand in hand with be where you are. Don't trail off in your mind. Don't get sucked into social media. Embrace those moments, and you can worry about the other stuff later. That's really what it comes down to. And so with this process and my reflections that I did and everything, the bottom of this page has you consider a word of the year, something that resonates with you to help you have the best year ahead. And so with this process, I kind of looked back at some like of the repeated language that I used with my reflections and my intentions and whatnot. And I really like the idea of creating. I'm going back to my life compass, which is on this page, I believe. Yes. I talked about how I'm very like average. And so I feel like that's good in a way because I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. And so at first I thought of the word create, and I also came up with strength or strengthen, increase, or improve. And I really liked all those words, but then I looked up a synonym for create and strengthen, and the word build came up in both of those lists of synonyms. And so I really like that idea and like have this visual image that I am pretty average right now. I have that foundation of what I know what I need to do. I just need to build myself up. The past couple years have been really hard for myself with having a baby and getting hired as a teacher and having health issues. And I just felt like in a lot of ways I've crumbled. And I now feel like I'm in a season of life where I'm getting back on track to having a normal life, and I can start rebuilding myself. And so off to the side, I just wrote down some of like the simplistic definitions of build, which are to construct or to make stronger. And that one really stuck out with me. And so when I wrote out what my word means to me, I wrote build makes sense because I have the foundation of myself. It is time for me to make myself stronger and more intense. It's time to cause something to happen because of my action, which is also another definition, a loose definition of build is when you build something that causes something to happen by your actions. You're building it up. You're actually physically doing something to make something of yourself. And so I really like that. I love the idea of it being because of my actions, and that's one thing that I want to carry into 2023 is being proactive and focusing on what I can do to make myself a better person and not focusing on what everyone else is doing and comparing myself to that or using what they're doing as an excuse to my struggles. And so I just really like that. It resonates so much with me. And I'm actually currently making my vision board for this next year, which will be revolving around my word build. I will show that to you guys in my next goal setting video because it's not quite done yet. But I want you in the comments to tell me, do you use a word of the year? And if you do, and if you've decided, what's your word of the year for 2023? If you haven't, what are some words you've considered? Or if you haven't, you can just tell me you've never done it before. I'm just really curious, and I will think that when we start sharing our words and why we're deciding to use those words, we inspire and help others. So let me know about that in the comments below. That is all that I am going to be sharing with you guys today. I just wanted to take that time and break down kind of like how the life compass works and how I'm planning on using it, which is pretty straightforward, as well as what I did with my assessment scoring and doing the highlighting. I think that's really helped me see some things. and then just how I've set up my intentions for the year. Like I said, I really love the straightforward process. It's making goal setting make more sense in my life, and it just feels more doable. Where last year and years prior, I've just felt so overwhelmed and like in limbo with things. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any more of my planning videos. I will be sharing more goal setting videos throughout the month of December, so you don't want to miss out on any of those. And until next time, guys, I will see you all later.